So, in some, there is one view that you can look at trauma, and it's like light. Let's say your soul, or your softer part, the softer part of you. So not the hard part of you, which is your body, but let's say the softer part of you. It's made of light. And that light sort of is inhabiting the body from within. It's your consciousness, your soul, however you want to call it. And when trauma happens, a part of that light can get detached from the body. Depending on what happened, it can be connected to the liver, to the heart, to the lungs, which is grief. The liver is anger. It can be connected to your root, which is safety. So there's a lot of, I don't want to get too much into it like this, but let's say you had this trauma at 17 and a big chunk of your inner light had to be, it just kind of got broken off from you, and it's not forever gone. It's just slightly outside of your body. So it's like orbiting like a satellite. So it's like your little moon, and you are the Earth, and the little moon is that chunk of light that got away from you when you were in trauma. The reason why we experience depression after trauma is because we feel that there is this big part of us that that usually supplies us with energy to move forward, and after trauma, that big part of us that is like, yeah, I want to enjoy life, let's go do things, it's almost like you don't have access to that part, and that part is somewhere around you, like in your field, but it's not in circulation inside of your body. So it's like a big chunk of electromagnetic energy that's now, let's say, right here, or right here, or right here, but it's not like inside of you. So when you say when people say they have depression after trauma, what just mechanically speaking, how emotions work, how electromagnetic energy, because emotions are electromagnetic, how that works is, when we are in trauma, when we experience trauma, some of our innate drive for life, or passion for life, or anything you want to put on like the other side of the word depression. So you have depression, and then you have, I don't know, lust for life, curiosity, joy, passion, drive. A big chunk of that can get like broken off, and in like shamanic circles, it's called soul retrieval, where you go back into the place and into the situation when it happened to remember how exactly it happened, and then there are ways to retrieve it. That's maybe slightly off topic, but the thing to do, I would say, is think maybe back when you were 17, when you were 18, 19, 20, when the trauma happened. In what ways did you So first of all, it's not your fault. Like, most definitely, whatever happened, it wasn't your fault. However you reacted, it's alright. It was trauma. So even to this day, if you're still working on it, it's okay. Like, I'm not gonna ask you what it was, because it's not a private setting, unless you want to say it, but first of all, it's not your fault. The thing to do could be to go back and try to think, okay, this trauma, which part of me got disconnected. If you can get like very, very intimate with these things, if they are not too painful to recollect. I'll give you an example. So I'll give you an example of a small trauma that might happen to me on a daily basis. Just some small little bullshit in the store or something. It's probably completely incomparable to whatever happened to you. But I'll just tell you how I do my soul retrieval, for example. So if I go to the grocery store or something like that, and I'm in like my mode like you see here, where I'm very sort of, I don't have any boundaries up, I'm very laid back, I'm like looking at everyone as my friends, I'm not on alert, I'm not in fight or flight mode, I'm just going to the store to get like watermelon, whatever. And I get to the store and there's a queue and it's my turn, and I put the watermelon on the scale and the person says pay here, and I scan the card. And at that moment, as I'm sort of leaning over and scanning the card, the person, like, it's quiet, it's very calm, and the person, the cashier, a male cashier, looks over my shoulder to a guy in the warehouse part, in the stockroom part of the grocery store, and he shouts like, I don't know, more strawberries over there or something like that. And it catches me off guard. Like, I'm really leaning over, I'm not on alert, there's no lions anywhere, and I'm scanning and that person's just right there and they go, more strawberries in the corner, and I'm like, and in that moment I experience that like a little trauma, and I get disconnected from my center, and I go into this mode of this is my card, have a nice day, and then I go home, and then I come home, and then I'm on my PC, and then I'm like in this people pleasing mode where I'm smiling, and then 5 hours later I'm like, like what, who was I the last 6 hours, what the hell happened, like where has my soul gone for the last 6 hours? And then I have to sort of remember, oh, so when that guy shouted, I disconnected a big chunk of myself and I didn't immediately get it back. Because my authentic reaction in that, like, in all honesty, I create lines, emotional, mental health guide on Insight Timer, the app for peaceful yogis. But my innate reaction when somebody does that to me is like, what the fuck are you shouting in my face for? Like, without any nothing, come on. But I don't do it. I don't do it. Instead of that, I go into this everything is fine, and then I come home and 6 hours later I'm like, where is all of my energy? What the hell happened? Like, my face gets stuck in this, everything is okay. So so the thing that I do is I go back and I remember, okay, so my authentic reaction to that trauma was to fight it, was to say to that person, at least, maybe not like actually fight him, but just at least look at him a certain way, or like take the watermelon a little bit more aggressively and just, or shake my shoulders, or just go like, just acknowledge that it happened. I get depressed over, like, it's a little depression. It's not a 35-year-old long depression like you, Kathy, but I get small depressions every single day, in a way that I detach my power in that moment. I want to fight, or I want to flight. So fight would be, what the fuck are you shouting in my face for? I'm a customer. Do you want not me to come? Like, I spend a lot of money on your store. Do you want me to not come back tomorrow? Is that how you treat? Like, why are you shouting like here over there to that guy, that would be fight. And flight would be just never to come back to the store again. Like, fuck this, I'm out of here. But I don't do both of those things. I don't do either flight or fight. I do freeze. And the freeze is like... Goodbye. And then you get stuck in that. And then you don't know who the hell you are for the next maybe 35 years. And that's tough. Nobody taught us how to reset. Nobody taught us to get that chunk of our soul back. So Kathy, whatever happened to you is like just a bigger and more serious, or way more serious, so just life. I'm just saying that in a sense of depression, it's like something happened to you and you never got to fight for yourself. You never got to run away from it. And you got stuck. And that energy, which is a big part of you, got stuck in that place when you were 17, in that place when you were 22. It's still back there. And it's not forever gone. It's just waiting there for you to reclaim it. So, let's say, I'll give you an example of how I work through things. Let's say I had an argument with my ex-girlfriend from like 10 years ago. And for 10 years I was convinced that I was the one to blame for the whole thing. I developed this whole identity about how in future interactions I don't use my power, I don't use my voice, I don't speak authentically. And then one day I decided to go back in time in my mind, like in meditation or like an exercise or a walk or whatever. I decided to go back in time and go like, wait, like maybe that person is not such a big, maybe I made her smarter than she actually is. Maybe I made her bigger in any way possible in my mind. And I was actually not to blame. And then what can happen is I go outside or I go into a place where I'm alone and I verbally and energetically and physically imagine that she is in front of me and I say all the things that I wanted to say at that point, but I thought that I am not allowed to, or that I'm wrong to say these things. To defend myself, to say, that's not my responsibility, you are the one not taking responsibility for your fucking life, why are you putting this on me, or whatever. The important thing is to reclaim that power by, it's almost like time travel, going back and acting out what you wanted to say, what you wanted to do. So the problem is that we as humans, we don't allow ourselves these aggressive modes. We don't allow ourselves to really fight, like really fight for your life. Because you would do that if somebody attacked you. You would run if a dog was chasing you. You would do that, you wouldn't think. So these are some of the ways that I do it. I do it for something in the store. I don't know exactly what is your situation, Kathy. I'm just saying that there is a way. There is always a way. And that depression is a state of like soul searching. Like, am I playing this role for 35 years? Maybe for 35 years you have been pretending that everything is okay. And that's causing depression. Maybe like you really need to cry. Maybe you really need to express that anger towards the person that gave you the trauma. Maybe you really need to get it off your chest in some type of way. Really make some action to release that emotion. And because that emotion is stuck, you are stuck in an identity that's pretending for X amount of years that everything is fine, that you can live through it, you are working through it. But we can't. There are things in this life that you cannot think your way out of, or move to another country or whatever, that thing goes with you. I've had a lot of experience with my own life as well, and with some other people that are also in this sort of like subculture subculture, people that are empathic, people that want to help others, like psychotherapists, holistic healers, stuff like that. And I always thought like the Buddha wouldn't hurt anyone. The Buddha's never aggressive. Jesus wouldn't hurt anyone. Jesus wasn't aggressive. Stuff like that. And then I don't allow myself to defend myself. And if you don't defend yourself in certain situations, you lose a big part of you, because it's not about being aggressive to being a tyrant towards somebody. It's about defending yourself if somebody is poking you or provoking you or whatever. It's about a place of personal power. So every time we go into trauma and you don't resolve it, there is a big part of personal power that you are just, I'm not gonna use this part of me. This part is too aggressive, this part is too uncontrollable. That's one of the other things. It's because that part is very animal. It's very instinctual, it's very primal. It has claws, it has teeth, it has fangs. It crawls, it gouges out eyes. And we all have it. Like, I can help anyone on this insight timer. If somebody attacked me, I would defend myself. So it's not like, but you know, we are in this society. Society is very angular. Society is very, I am a member of society. Everything goes smoothly, and everything is 90 degrees. All the doors are 90 degrees. Everything is hello. Well, how are you today? Everything is, you know, but we are very organic creatures that have a lot of expressions, different kinds and different whatever, you know. You can be, there's a big scale of human from here to here. This is tada, and this is also I create lines. And then this is also I create lines. What up? So that's a big scale. And then ignoring that warrior. Depression is when you wanted to be a warrior, but you didn't. Depression is when you wanted to run in the different direction and say fuck all of you, but you didn't. That's when you get depression. When you want to fight for something that you want to fight for, but you don't fight. And when you want to get away from something that is like, I want to get away from this, but you don't get away from that. Bam, depression.